Right. It's been a couple of days since I wanted to make this video. Usually I like to have the reviews out either the day after or on the day, ideally. It's the day after and it's 5 to 11 at night. We're just gonna have something of some sort to show for this food log review, as I want to get these out, so I'd rather have something than nothing. So here goes. Water intake was on point. I had around about a gallon worth, and if I remember correctly, I wasn't really feeling extremely thirsty throughout the day like how I am today, but I'm going to talk about that in the food log for today when I'm making this voiceover on the 18th. Going back to this log in particular though, reviewing this log water intake was definitely more on point than it has been today, but I'm okay with that because sometimes you drink more, sometimes you drink less, and it's something that I've recently picked up again, going out my way to really improve water intake. So it's not something that I should feel unhappy about. It's to be expected. Same way I've been tracking my weight on a daily basis, and sometimes my weight has increased, or it seemed to increase. For example, it seemed to increase today by less than a kilogram, maybe 0.3 kilograms or so from one day to the next. It's completely fine. Just as long as I keep going with it, I can develop on my progress that I have made. So that's what I'm going to keep on doing. I'm going to keep on getting to a point where I'm drinking enough water, however much that is, a gallon or less, or maybe more, and just master drinking an amount that my body actually needs. Not only so I feel hydrated, which would positively impact every aspect of my life and would make going to the toilet, taking a shit easy, but it also, or no pun intended, but it also just make exercising easy because I'm not focusing on dehydration, because I'd be feeling hydrated, and I'd just be allowing my body to function normally. Honestly, that is, I can only see positive things about that, or think of positive things about that. I can't think of how allowing your body to function normally is somehow wrong and something we shouldn't be doing. So I'm definitely getting there, and I plan to keep on developing on this progress that I've made. Sometimes I'll be where I want to be for a few days, but I think, like Kai Green said, you just got, well, not have to, but I would like to get to a point where I have string more efficient days of action together in terms of water intake in this context, and then you can further develop it from there. So in terms of water intake, that's what I plan to do. And in terms of nutrition throughout the day, I say my fruit intake is definitely up there. So that's helped with eating more healthily. I'm helping myself out with eating more healthily by having the fresh fruits that are there. And I could be eating more healthily than I currently am, but I'm just eating what's there, honestly. If anything, and I think what I'm eating is really negatively impacting my health, then I can just eat less of the sandwiches, for example, less of the rice, less of the stew, and that sort of stuff. I do have to be careful there because I could really be set myself up for high blood pressure and things like that. There's this one condition that I actually learned about today as I was studying the cardiovascular system, as is one of the topics that I have to know for anatomy and physiology for that exam that I've got to do and that I plan to do on during late September, and it's called atherosclerosis, and it's about the artery thickening within the inner lining of the artery, or plaque build-up happening which would harden the artery and make it more difficult for blood to flow. Oh, I've forgotten if it's to flow in or flow out to the heart. I'm not. I think arteries let blood flow out from the heart to the rest of the body. Regardless, blood flow happens in arteries, just like how blood flow happens in veins, and atherosclerosis makes it more difficult for that to happen. And to make that relevant to my nutrition, that's not something that I want to set myself up for through having too much oil and giving my body the resources to create such a health condition. I've been learning about it, as I've said, and I say that again because I want to bring up a different thing that I've learned about it. And that is not only the name of the condition and what it is, but how it works. And the first stage of atherosclerosis, apologies to myself, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, it's fine though, for now anyway, is inflammation. I didn't read how this sort of stuff happens. There are 3 stages: inflammation, narrowing, and blockage. For some reason, I'm closing my eyes to remember it. Maybe that helps me remember the book, in which the book page in which all this information was on. And I plan to definitely keep on learning more about that sort of stuff, because that would help me with the consequences of not eating healthily and what some people might experience because they're not doing what it takes to not only eat healthily, but because they're not doing what it takes to exercise to a point where their body can stay healthy from the start of their life to the end of their life. Now, in terms of remembering things, I definitely could close my eyes and try and remember what I've seen in books or I've seen online and that sort of stuff. Now that I think about it, it's definitely something that I could do. I'd be opening my mind's eye, basically, I think. If I go out my way to train my mind's eye, imagine how much progress that I could make with just learning things. I like to learn things visually, and if I can develop my memory from like looking at the pages, then I'm definitely not saying no to it. Reminds me of photographic memory. When I was a kid in primary school, I remember this girl, we were in the same year, and she had photographic memory. She could just look at the pages and just remember them just like that. And I don't exactly remember how I thought about that, but if I remember correctly, I just was fascinated by it. I really liked the idea, and it was something that I admired, the fact that she could do that. Yeah, brings up other memories too. Like one time my teacher said, not everything goes your way. Hey, that's completely unrelated to the video, however that is some truth. Probably one of the most necessary things I've heard in school that's related to living your life and understand how life goes. That sort of stuff is more useful than probably 70% of the contents of the GCSEs and A-levels that I studied. Regardless, going back to thinking of nutrition, which I could passively aggressively say, which I should have learned about in school, but then again, the cooking GCSEs did exist. I just decided not to take them. So for a reason I don't remember, it wasn't anything I had against the qualifications, but I just decided not to, even though I like cooking classes. And you know what? I've actually been seeing cooking classes near where I could be, where I'll soon be living, it seems, and I could actually go to them. I've seen some cooking classes in a Caribbean restaurant, actually. They're saying you could cook lessons for cooking fried chicken, that sort of stuff. I know how to do that already, rather stereotypically, ironically as well, or from a stereotypical standpoint anyway, but yeah, there's definitely that sort of stuff that I could do, and I don't mind paying. That'd be a memory and a half. And I say that because I just watched a video of someone talking about them selling their sports car because they thought the material possession wasn't worth it, as in their words, the dopamine wore off. And you'd rather invest the money that you did have in experiences. Anyway, I think I want to do the same thing. Invest not my money, the money I'd have come in. It just flows in cycles. From the company's pockets, from the gym, for example, where I'd have money coming in from them, to then people, I'd then be giving that same money to other people, and then it just flow from there, flow like that. But yeah, I could definitely get cooking classes, and that would help me improve my social life because I'd be meeting people that way. People that want to learn to cook. I mean, I can cook myself, but there's nothing wrong with going out my way to pay to develop my skills. It's definitely something I could do. Same way I would want to eventually learn how to swim. I mean, it's an essential life skill, and I'd never know when I'd need it. Especially if I'm, say, traveling, for example, and I'm going to a different country, or I'm going, who knows, going to just the beach anywhere, and I'd need it. And just for fun, really, I could do, I'd be spending money on that, spending money on learning how to fight, because I didn't do that in school, and I didn't have any physical altercations with anyone at home, or just any street brawls. I've never had any of them. So yeah, it's definitely these sorts of things, like learning how to cook and paying for that, is something I don't think that I would regret, on the premise that I think I'm actually learning, and I don't sense that I'm going to get food poisoning or anything like that, and I've developed the trust from those people who are teaching me how to cook, and they're qualified, that sort of stuff. For example, they're qualified with their level 2 food and safety in that. Anyway, I'll leave it at that for now, because I think my phone battery is going to die. So cheers to doing what I need to do to not only improve my cooking skills, but eat more healthily, as I have more money coming in from quite a few different income sources at once that I can manage and handle, along with doing everything else that I want to do in my life, like make videos for this channel and progress with my exercise. Anyway, I think my phone's going to die, so I'm going to leave it there. Peace. Cheers to progressing in life and using money in a way that I consider sensible, both now and long term. I'd like to imagine when looking back at how I'd spend my money, or how I'd use the money that I'd have coming in, rather, not my money, as I clarified earlier. Anyway, I'm gone. Peace.